Before you even think about skipping this, listen to me carefully because what I'm about to tell you in the next few seconds can flip a woman's entire perception of you. Most men will never hear this truth. Most men will go their entire lives speaking to women in a way that kills attraction without even realizing it. But you're here. And if you stay with me until the end, I'm going to give you something you can actually use tonight. Something she will replay in her mind long after the conversation ends. So, take a breath, stay with me, and if you haven't already, make sure you like this video and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Now, let me tell you a secret from a woman who spends her life analyzing human behavior. Women fantasize not when a man tries hard, but psychology of attraction explained when he understands the right pressure points of psychological curiosity. Compliments are powerful, yes, but only when they hit the emotional nerve that women keep it hidden. The problem is that most men compliment women in a way that is predictable, shallow, or generic. You look beautiful, nice hair, pretty eyes. Do you know what these do? Nothing. They evaporate. Every man says them. They carry no emotional weight, no spark, no memory. But the moment a compliment feels specific, intimate, and unexpected, something happens inside her mind. She doesn't just hear it. She feels it. It lingers. It becomes a loop. And that loop is what she falls asleep thinking about. Men underestimate how deeply women process language. A woman's emotional brain lights up when a man notices something she didn't think anyone was paying attention to. The world tells men that women are complicated, but the truth is women are just emotionally tuned in a way men were never taught to recognize. When you learn to compliment her in the language of emotion, not the language of appearance, you unlock a reaction inside her that she doesn't even fully understand herself. There are 3 compliments that activate this exact response, and once you learn them, you'll never go back to the surface-level things that keep you forgettable. These aren't cheesy lines or manipulative tactics. They're simple. Compliment number 1. Emotional identity trigger truths expressed in a way that touches a part of her she guards carefully. And yes, when you use them correctly, she will think about you, replay your words, and imagine more. Before I reveal the first compliment, I need you to understand why it works. Because if you just repeat the words without the energy behind them, it loses its power. Women don't respond to phrases. They respond to the feeling a man creates when he notices something no one else sees. And that's where the first compliment comes in. It's simple, but it hits a woman's emotional center with stunning force. I love the way your mind works. When you say this, everything inside her pauses. Her breath, her thoughts, her defenses. You're not praising her looks, her body, her smile, things she already hears from strangers, coworkers, and random men online. You're praising something she values about herself, something she can't fake, something she has spent her entire life forming. Women crave emotional recognition, not physical validation. And when you mention the way her mind works, you are suddenly speaking to her identity, not her appearance. Most men say things like, "You're smart," but that's flat. It's vague, it's forgettable. But when you tell her that her mind, her perspective, her thought patterns, her creativity, her logic, her intuition is something you genuinely admire, it feels intimate. It feels like connection. Women fantasize about men who make them feel seen, not inspected. Because here's the secret. Women fall for men who activate their imagination. And nothing activates imagination more than a compliment that makes her analyze what you meant. She'll start replaying conversations, remembering small details she shared, wondering what exactly made you think that. She'll dive deeper into your words. Compliment number 2, psychological connection than you ever expected. And that emotional processing creates a loop, one that pulls her back to you again and again. A woman wants to feel like her inner world, the part she hides behind her smile, is being recognized by a man who actually pays attention. When you say, "I love the way your mind works," you're telling her you see the part of her she protects the most. And trust me, women fantasize about the men who reach that layer. If a compliment sparks imagination, curiosity, and emotional warmth all at once, it becomes a seed she can't forget. And this one does exactly that. It's not loud, it's not flashy. It's quiet, meaningful, and deeply seductive in a psychological way. The second compliment is even more powerful because it hits a woman in the place where she feels the most misunderstood. Every woman, no matter how confident she appears, carries a private world inside. Her thoughts she never says aloud, fears she hides behind humor, dreams she's scared people will think are unrealistic. And when a man touches that emotional space with the right words, her mind doesn't just soften, it opens. The compliment is this: there's something about your energy that stays with me. You have no idea how deeply this affects a woman. To a man, it might sound poetic. To a woman, it feels like emotional gravity. Women constantly wonder what impression they leave on the people around them. They worry about being too much, not enough, forgettable, or replaceable. And when you say that her energy stays with you, you're telling her she affects you on a level she can't control or fake. You're not complimenting her appearance. You're not even complimenting her personality. You're complimenting the aura she naturally carries, the part of her that is effortless and unconscious. Compliment number 3, subconscious imagination cue. When a woman hears this, she feels a deep sense of significance. It tells her she's not just another moment in your life. She's an imprint. And this is where the psychology becomes irresistible. When you tell a woman that something about her energy lingers in your mind, she instantly begins to wonder what part, what moment, what detail, what expression. That curiosity is what sparks fantasy. Not the romantic kind, though that can follow, but the emotional kind, where she imagines you noticing her when she wasn't trying to be noticed. Women fantasize about being unforgettable. They fantasize about leaving a mark on a man without effort. They fantasize about being the woman who stands out in his world when she's not even around him. And this compliment tells her she already has. What makes it even more powerful is its simplicity. You're not over-explaining. You're not trying to impress her with complicated language. You're giving her a mystery, a gentle puzzle, a warm, lingering question that she will keep replaying, especially when she's alone. She will think about the way you said it, your tone, your eyes, your timing, and the more she thinks, the deeper the emotional connection grows. A woman's imagination is the gateway to her attraction, and this compliment opens that gateway effortlessly. Now, we reach the third compliment, the one that pulls her straight into the world of emotional fascination. Not obsession, not desperation, fascination. Because that's what truly keeps a woman awake at night, replaying moments she didn't expect to matter as much as they do. This compliment is different. It's softer, warmer, and far deeper than anything most men dare to say. I feel calmer when I talk to you. A woman may enjoy being called beautiful. She may enjoy being, why most men say them wrong, called attractive or interesting. But when you tell her she brings you calm, you're telling her she has an emotional influence that even she may not have realized. Women instinctively want to be a source of peace to the man they feel something for. Not because they want to fix him, but because women bond through emotional presence. When you say these words, it does something profound inside her. It tells her she's not just exciting, she's soothing. She's not just someone you look at, she's someone you return to. And the more emotionally intelligent a woman is, the more deeply she feels this kind of compliment. Because calm is rare, especially for men today. Women know how much pressure men carry in silence, how much weight they hold on their shoulders, how much they pretend to be unaffected by. So, when you tell her presence calms you, you're telling her she touches the part of you the world never sees. It's an emotional intimacy that feels safe, grounded, honest, and that safety triggers something powerful inside a woman's heart. She begins to imagine what it feels like to be close to you, truly close, not just physically, not just socially, but emotionally. This is where the fantasy begins. She starts thinking about your conversations, remembering how you looked at her, replaying the way she felt when you spoke. Because now how to say them naturally know, she has an impact on you that's deeper than appearance or attraction. She has emotional influence, and that is the kind of connection women crave with a man they respect. But here's the real beauty of this compliment. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you needy. It makes you human in a world where men are taught to hide their humanity. And that honesty spoken confidently becomes magnetic. When a woman realizes she brings a man calm, she doesn't forget him. She thinks about him. She imagines him. She wonders about him long after the moment ends. Now that you know the three compliments, you need to understand why they work on a level deeper than attraction. Because this isn't about tricking a woman or memorizing lines. It's about speaking to the parts of her identity she guards the most, the parts she wishes someone would finally notice. Women are emotional processors. They don't just hear words. They analyze them, connect them, feel them, and the kind of compliments you give determine which version of you she builds in her mind. Most men make the mistake of complimenting a woman the way society teaches them to. Physical first, emotional last, but women fall in the opposite direction. They feel emotional attraction long before physical attraction fully develops. A man becomes final psychology insight more handsome, more masculine, and more magnetic in her eyes when she trusts his emotional presence, not his body, not his looks. His presence, that's why these compliments work. They touch the three layers of her emotional identity. Her mind, the part of her she takes pride in. Her energy, the part she wonders if anyone snorts truly feels. Her impact, the part she hopes someone will find comfort in. Once you understand this, everything changes in the way you communicate with women. You stop sounding like every other man, and you begin speaking to the parts of her she doesn't reveal easily. Women fantasize about the man who makes them feel emotionally significant, not just attractive. Here's where the psychology becomes even more interesting. When a woman repeatedly replays a compliment in her mind, she unconsciously associates that emotional feeling with the man who gave it to her. This is called affective imprinting, when emotion attaches itself to memory. And if the emotion is warm, grounding, or intimate, she begins to crave the presence that created it. This is why you never have to be overly romantic, overly smooth, or overly confident. You just have to speak with emotional accuracy. Women aren't asking for perfection. They're asking for resonance. For that moment when a man says something that feels like it came from deeper awareness, not shallow routine. And the truth is, most men never learn this skill. They don't understand that the most seductive thing about a man is the way he makes a woman feel when he talks to her. Not when he performs, not when he flexes, when he speaks, when she feels understood. Attraction becomes effortless. There's something else you need to understand if you truly want these compliments to stay with her long after the conversation ends. Words alone don't create impact. It's the emotional environment you create around those words that makes them unforgettable. Women don't fantasize about sentences. They fantasize about moments. And moments are shaped by tone, presence, timing, and authenticity. When you say these compliments, you cannot rush them. You can't throw them out casually the way most men do with generic praise. You have to speak them as if you're simply stating a truth you naturally feel. A woman's intuition is powerful. She knows instantly when a man is performing, exaggerating, or trying too hard. But she also knows when a man is speaking from a place of grounded confidence. And that's when her emotional walls begin to melt without her even realizing it. The reason these three compliments work is because they're not thirsty. They're not needy. They're not begging for approval or trying to win her over. They simply reveal the way you experience her. And that subtle shift from seeking something from her to reflecting something about her is what makes you stand out from every other man she meets. A woman's attraction builds through connection, not pressure. When she feels like you're observing her, understanding her, feeling her energy without trying to manipulate it, she becomes drawn to you in a way she struggles to explain. That's the emotional pull that keeps her awake at night replaying your words. But here's the truth most men overlook. Emotional influence comes from your presence, not your performance. If you speak slowly, calmly, with meaning behind every word, the compliments settle into her mind instead of passing over her. If you look at her with quiet confidence, not staring, not forcing it, but simply being there, she feels the sincerity. Women respond to microsignals, not theatrics. And that's why your energy matters just as much as your words. If you're grounded, she feels secure. If you're centered, she feels open. If you're sincere, she feels seen. Without that presence, Even the best compliments fall flat. With it, even a few simple words can make her think about you long after the conversation ends. The truth is, women remember how you made them feel far longer than what you said. And when you pair the right words with the right presence, you become unforgettable. Now that you understand the psychology behind these compliments, here's the part most men will never grasp. It's not about memorizing phrases. It's about becoming the kind of man whose words carry weight. Women don't fantasize about a man because he says something clever once. They fantasize because the way he speaks reflects depth, awareness, and emotional maturity. When your presence feels grounded, when your attention feels real, when your energy is steady and intentional, every compliment becomes twice as powerful. The truth is, women crave emotional certainty. They want to feel that the man in front of them is not fragile, reactive, or trying to impress. They want to feel like he knows who he is. That's why these compliments work so profoundly when they come from a grounded place. They don't just describe her, they reveal you. They show you're a man who pays attention, a man who appreciates more than the surface, a man who feels without being overwhelmed by his feelings. And here's something deeper. When you give a woman emotional recognition, she begins to recognize you differently. She starts imagining what it feels like to open up to you, to trust you, to come closer. Because a man who sees her mind, her energy, and her emotional impact is a man she instinctively wants to be around, not because he's perfect, but because he reflects a version of connection she rarely experiences. This is how emotional attraction is born, not in big grand gestures, not in showy compliments, but in the quiet moments where she realizes you understand her in a way other men don't. And that realization grows. It whispers in her mind. It stays with her long after the conversation ends. She starts wondering what else you notice, what else you feel, what else you think about her. And once that loop begins, it creates the emotional momentum that pulls her toward you without force. So, use these compliments with intention, with presence, with authenticity. Not to manipulate, but to connect. Because when you do, you become the man she remembers in crowded rooms, the man she compares others to, the man she thinks about when the night is quiet and she's alone with her thoughts. And if you want more insights like this, real psychology, real depth, real tools that actually change your relationships, make sure you like this video and subscribe. You're only just beginning to understand how powerful you can become when you learn the language of a woman's